Hello everybody, Sky Marshall here, bringing you another review for Operation Dark Horizon. And this time it's the end of turn 12, and we are currently, well, I guess you could say the game's afoot. Every nation is at war with another nation somewhere, somehow. And I think what we'll do is we're going to focus on the Mediterranean to start with. And we're going to review what the Italian conquests have been this turn. So the Italians have done a steady march over into eastern Egypt, or I should say Western Egypt, stopping here just before Alexandria. The French and the British have built up a solid defense, but I don't know how much it's going to be before that defensive wall gets broken. Why? Well, because they're encircled. The Italians have landed in Transjordan and have taken that territory with force, as well as moved up from Eritrea and moved into Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, sorry. And now the crunch is being felt as Cairo and Alexandria are under siege. The British have brought up their fleet, as well as the French, into the Red Sea here. And they have quite a sizable fleet. Some of them are in port, some of them are not. So we'll see what happens with that. Some ships have gone into port to garrison that territory. However, some conquests, the Italians did conquest and take over the island of Malta with no casualties. Of course, they brought in the entire Regia Aeronautica to battle that, but nonetheless, they were assured victory. And their coastal defense, or coastal submarines, I should say, the Salpa, the Janita, and the Medusa, did wonders, giving 6 million tons of British shipping a key to Davy Jones's locker and sinking to the bottom of the Mediterranean. Done very good. Now, they did leave the Italian destroyer, the Ascari, behind, while the bulk of their fleet now is going to lick their wounds because they battled and engaged the French fleet under Admiral Darlan, sinking the light cruiser Marseille and the destroyer La Fantastique. But before the Fantastique was sunk, she launched 2 torpedoes and caused some damage against the Littorio. So she's hurting right now. And of course, the submarine was lost in that action too, the Torelli. So right now, the Italians are playing a very cautious move. They've moved their medium armor divisions down to Italy, and they fortified and garrisoned places like Sardinia, southern Italy, Transjordan, Nubia, and Western Egypt. And we'll see what happens as the turn progresses for them. But that's basically a quick summary they have. The Africa Corps has just started developing some territory here in the western part of Africa. But I hear rumors that things are being mobilized in Western Europe, somewhere in this area, that a new Africa Corps might be mobilized and being heading south to ports in North Africa. We'll have to wait and see. Japanese here in India are definitely choking the British crown jewels here with Calcutta. Definitely being under a lot of threat with their submarines, doing a lot of commerce raiding, as well as the Japanese securing more and more territory. They didn't do a whole lot this turn. They did move into the Northern Territory, secure more Australian zones of influence, and reposition a large part of their navy. Obviously, a large chunk in the Palau Islands, and you can see right here with their carrier strength, their submarine divisions, and then, of course, they have another carrier division up north here, possibly for engagements maybe into China next turn. We'll see. That's all speculative, of course. And the Americans and the British have been dealing devastating blows to the Japanese convoy routes and limiting them to their naval buildup. And we can only see 3 destroyers here built last turn, as well as a limited air force and garrison of the home islands. But nonetheless, the Japanese are pushing on with their heads held high, believing that they're going to come into victory. The French submarine, the Acheron, did do 4 million tons of damage in the South China Sea there against Japanese shipping coming up from the oil-rich and rubber-rich Dutch East India colonies. The Americans, however, in the Pacific, look at what they have here. So they have now officially brought their entire navy into Pearl, and that's the Yorktown, the flagship, the Yorktown, along with her destroyers, heavy cruisers, and the battleships Wisconsin, New Jersey, Iowa, and Missouri. A fifth sister was recently built, and that is a little bit of alt history here, the USS Kentucky. So now she'll be probably joining the fleet along with 4 more destroyers, 3 new heavy cruisers, the Pittsburgh, the Helena, the Columbus, and the new light cruiser San Juan, another Atlantic cruiser. And we cannot forget the pride of the Western United States fleet, the Hornet, which is the capital flagship for this fleet as well. So we're going to be having Mark Mitcher joining Jack Fletcher here, I'm sure, no doubt, possible for an invasion push into Japan. And up here you can see Marines, troops, infantry units are all garrisoning here in Midway for future invasion. They have brought back the Bonefish and the Hammerhead, as well as the Gato and the Scorpion. Their submarines have been recalled, possibly for a future offensive. Now let's just go on over here into China, where the KMT did a disastrous attack into Suyan, newly liberated territory for the CCP, that they've decided to join their brothers. And well, of course, the KMT didn't like that, tried to attack, and unfortunately, they learned the true might of the CCP. So we've been able to secure a third territory and hold it. We'll see how long we can. Hopefully further north we might get help from our Russian brethren. But currently right now there's very sparse resources in the Far East. Why? Because a large part of that contingent is down here in Iran, securing oil fields, southern Iran, and also Kuwait last turn. The Russians decided to take the oil-rich territories of Kuwait. Further north here, we have decided to embark on a campaign into Turkey, where we have troops in Syria and also in Anatolia, marching, ready to go on to hopefully 3 territories next turn: the Karadins, Ankara, and the Akadens territories, before we take the crown jewel of Istanbul and Russia can claim glory over the Black Sea and all its territories around it, hopefully. So currently, right now, that's where we're at. Gibraltar is being garrisoned more and more all the time. We have 2 South African divisions right there. Oh, by the way, the British did try to branch out and attack Transjordan, but they lost colonial infantry, and I believe it was the 2nd South African Division down there too. They were unfortunately eliminated quite viciously with Italian defense. And over here we have German U-boats doing more merchant raiding here in the Atlantic, and the new advanced U-boat, the U-3017, recently commissioned in the ports off Brest here, and she'll be probably joining the U-boat fleet in the Atlantic to try to cause some havoc. Interesting move by the Americans. The Americans have recalled their fleet back home with USS Enterprise right here under Admiral Bull Halsey and his fleet. They've left a few ships here protecting some of the waters around the western approaches, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. For some reason, the Norwegian defense ship, the Geiler, has been sent out here probably as cannon fodder because the British don't really care about other countries, and that's fine. We understand that. But the Russian people, we love all the territories we've conquered. And if you don't love us, well, we'll send you to the gulags. Look at that Air Force, though. Look at that. Germany now has 4 jets, 5 fighters, tactical bomber, 2 strategic bombers, and quite an Air Force it is. As well as they got the Bismarck and several coastal defense ships from Sweden, which had joined the war on the Axis side. And in here in Russia, not a lot is going in. There's a great peace. Swaz right here in the middle, because right now the Allies are winning, and we'll have to see about changing the war in the future turns. But until that happens, and until the Soviets take their glorious territory, we'll have to wait and see, guys. So go check out Turn 13 for Operation Dark Horizon. And this is Sky Marshall giving you guys a good, fond farewell, and come back soon because the game is just getting exciting. Take care, guys. Stay classy.